Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV. Wow, it's a cooker. Now we're having these really, really hot days. The heat is just not leaving, so wow. It's a hottie. Humid, hot. Well, good morning there. Telly Savalas here. Was that the Kojak series? Ronaldo, I think that's funny that he called me out as Telly Savalas. But I'd have to shave my beard, I think, too. Do I shave my eyebrows to be totally bald? But I like it. That was funny. So here we are, the new look. Just accepting that I'm never going to have a full head of hair again unless I go out and spend a ton of money to have a full head of hair, which I don't even know if that'll even work. But here we are in the Ice Age TV shop. And got to go to the house, get the dogs going. I think I'll just get the food bowls going right now. Just that way, by the time I come over here. Oh, it doesn't end. By the time I get over here, the food bowls will be ready for them, and you don't have to see me fight the dogs. Or do you watch me fight the dogs? Turn on the fans. It is very, very hot. Got my Crocs on. You know, it's incredible how easy it is to get out of bed and get dressed. I've been living in the pool. I mean, for me, I'm getting late starts because I'm staying in the pool swimming and exercising till like 8 o'clock at night. And then I hang out here till 10:30. I don't even get to bed till midnight. And by the time I wake up in the morning, it's like, man, my body's feeling that workout in the pool, which thank God, to get to exercise and stretch the ligaments. All the good stuff. So yeah, I'm running behind, but it's summer, and I don't care. And it's incredible how this year we're gonna have 4th of July on the right day of the week. It's on Friday, so many people are gonna enjoy a 3-day weekend, which that's nice. Having holidays middle of the week, I'm sure a lot would agree that it sucks because you can't take advantage of, like, if Christmas was on Thursday or Friday, or if 4th of July is on Thursday, Friday. You can say a Monday, Tuesday as well, I guess. But it just seems like the Thursday, Friday calendar works better for the 4th of July, which is next week. Hard to believe. Everybody, like I said so many times, when the month came in, I said June's going to be like, poof, gone. All right, let's get over here to the house and get the dogs out. Haven't had any coffee yet. And get in the heat of the moment, everybody. The heat. And figure out what we can talk about on middle of the week, Wednesday morning conversations. But yeah, last night the dogs were out here to close to 10:30. So that's one thing about me. If I ever go away, the downside for the dogs, it's not permanent, but if I was to go away, the dogs, it's just if my wife can kind of manage them, they're not going to be out. But I guess a lot of people say, well, I work all day long and I have a hectic schedule, and the dogs are just happy to be alive and be with me and get fed every day. So whatever. But the whole point is they just get to run and run and run. And Gypsy, she's sly. She got through the fence yesterday, and I think she went to that field over there. I started looking for her, and here she comes, running across the road. So she's a never-ending, if you just don't watch her every second. Oh, here we go. So the wife's already there's one of the $100 beds that's been destroyed. She brought another one. Ooh, wait a second. I think she crapped. I think that's a poop mess, everybody. Uh-oh. Wonder where that would be, because I didn't change anything. I've been feeding them. And they went in late last night, so this will be interesting. I don't know. Oh, that would have been Rebel. Rebel doesn't have a bed. Diesel has a bed. So what's going on in here? I smell something. So somebody had some bathroom issues. That's too bad. Yeah, that's interesting. They said they got in at 10:30 last night. Boy, it's crapola. It's Crapola City. Yeah, I'm back. But man, I am running so late this morning. I'm not really going to spend a lot of time this morning talking just because I got a late start. So I'm really going to just kind of let everybody know it's a good Wednesday morning, and I got to get things in order to get out of here. Got kind of delayed. So I know some people kind of think, what happened to the Iceman when he doesn't make a Wednesday morning or morning video? And I've told people many times, you know, getting up every day and making a video is not the easiest thing in the world, but I have time constraints on me now. That's my problem. So I've been distracted. This morning, everybody, and that kind of has delayed me being able to run my mouth for the next 10-15 minutes. So I got to get Brian off to work, and that's the important thing right now. So I don't want him waiting around for me to run my mouth. So do I come back a little bit, finish up the video? I don't know. Kind of leave it at that right now. And I'm back. Can you believe it? Man, it's been kind of a rough morning here getting things going. Got up late and getting the business going, getting Brian going. But, you know, I just like to keep the channel going, everybody. So here's the thing. I thought to myself, I was thinking to myself this morning about who we are. And it's interesting. I'm watching the documentary of Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, and Ernest Hemingway. And it's just really intriguing to watch these series of what were really well-known individuals in our country and throughout the world. And I get a kick out of seeing their personalities and what the positive things about them and the negative things about them. And it's incredible how in so many ways what's our biggest challenge in life? If you really step back and think about that for a second, what really, for you and I, what's our biggest challenge of life? And just watching this documentary, it becomes so apparent that it's a challenge of being you. And here's Brian. So let me take that real quick. Oh, it's not easy being you. And so once again, that everything this morning, I just had too much going on, which just breaks up it breaks up my focal point on me talking and bringing content to you on my channel, which I enjoy doing on a daily basis. So what's incredible, you watch this, if you watch those series, it is just really says so much about how all of us have our own vices, as my dad would say in conversations. You listen to my dad, because you watch on how Mark Twain, as I mentioned yesterday, his vice was, in some ways, I think he got burned out of doing what he did. And that's what happens, I think, in business and in life. You become burned out of what made you successful. And then you try to go a different direction in your life to think that you can be successful again. But in the end, I think a lot of times it's more you fail. And so for like Samuel Clemens, I feel like the challenge of him being him was the chasing the money, chasing the dream. He accomplished through his own writings, but then he wanted to be part of the Industrial Revolution and become successful through all the new gadgets and machinery, patents, and if you watch that series, you'll see that he spent all his money for nothing, and he got himself into deep trouble. So for Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, in so many ways, he was his own worst, his own worst success failure story. And that seems to be a thing that we see all the time in people that are well known, that you can follow them and see them. It's like in professional sports. I can guarantee you many people can raise their hand and say for what so many professional sports individuals did. Look at O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson is a perfect example of a person that was the star of the 70s of on the football field and the entertainment industry, but in the end, it was challenging for him to be him, which in the end we know what played out in his life. And Ernest Hemingway, same thing. You look at this guy; he was a very successful writer. He had his ups and downs, but his challenge was the women, the domination of women. That in the end, you'd have to say, ruined him. In his heavy drinking, but he was so. If you watch the series, I mean, it's kind of sad to see that on the on off screen, he was very much a violent individual, very confrontational, very aggressive, and then you look at his children. Yeah, that's what's so crazy is you look at his children, and Ernest Hemingway, and they all had serious mental challenges. You look at Mark Twain, and he was very attached to his children. He was very close to his children. And Ernest Hemingway, he traveled the world. He was always on the run. He was always, in my view, chasing yet another lady. Do we really even know all the stories of the women that he had relationships with, but he never divulged that? It's interesting to watch that Ernest Hemingway series about how he was a journalist over there in France, I believe it was France, and on how he was part of the propaganda, on how he was seeing things and he wasn't sharing with the public of what was going on. Isn't that something to even think about? Even back in that time, the propaganda has been around us all of our life. And I guess the reason I bring this conversation up is I can look at my own self. It's the challenge of being me, of just me wanting too many cars, too many motorcycles, too many trucks to satisfy my love of vehicles, which in the end has in so many ways ruined my immediate time. My challenges like never seen for me in all reality ever. This is the most challenging time in my life of what I've taken on financial responsibility, and it's all from my own doing. I can't blame. It's easy for me to blame others. It's easy for me to say, "Oh, the social media created all this." Well, yeah, it's easy to say that, but I think in the end, most would agree. Well, you're a guy who's always had lots of cars, so I don't know if I'd buy into your whole. You had to buy all these cars to build your social media dream. And yeah, I mean, I would say yes and no on that. I thought that for sure that I would get a lot of exposure, a lot of attention. Did I know it was risky? Of course I did. I mean, did I know that it was foolish making financial commitments? Well, yeah. I mean, I would just be lying to you otherwise. But once again, I think that all of us in this physical world we live in, we beat ourselves up. I mean, it's so easy to beat yourself up. I mean, what's the reason people turn to alcohol and to drugs and sex and all these other things that we do under ourselves because of, yet in many ways, the unhappiness of who we are. I mean, that's very challenging, and how you handle that. And that's one thing that I always have felt separates those that can continue on and those that can't, is for the things that you do yourself and that you create upon yourself, can you weather through that and overcome the bad decisions that you've made, and can you rise above that? And that's where it's very, very challenging. And in family, relationships, business, I mean, it's everything. And what's incredible here on my own small channel, I hear from others their challenges. And that's the thing. Most people don't want to air or vent publicly what their secrets are of their challenges, of being who they are. And here's the most common breakup, story. When you break up with somebody, it's not you, it's me. Have you ever heard that story? Hey, yeah, it's not you, it's me. And in so many ways, you're right. It is you. That's a huge problem. Tell you what, the pool for me is such therapy. I think to myself, oh my gosh, it's hard to even say it, but the cooler months are upon us, just like that. I mean, it's going to be September, October, just like that. In that pool, it's incredible. Even as hot as it is, just a little variant in the temperatures in the evening, you already start getting a little chill. So that pool really just is not really that enjoyable once we get into the 70-degree, 80-degree weather. And so anybody up here that owns a pool, you know, you've got maybe a 3-month run of your pool. Now, keep in mind, those people that have the heated pool, the in-ground pool, the more, there's a lot of variables there. My pool is not heated. I don't need another damn propane bill or electric bill on my property because I already have too much of a bill as it is, which, as you see on my channel, it's crazy in how much money I spend every month. But at the same time, I've got a business that I'm running out of my property. I've got lights on. I've got cars being charged. I've got right now air conditioning running upstairs here in the office. Then I have the air conditioning at nighttime running in the camper. You got air conditioning running inside the house. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of how you can just start to add up the amount of energy that I burn up every day just on my own property. So to hear I have a $600, $700, $800 a month electric bill, to me, it's like, yeah, I mean, it sounds outrageous to me. But if you just take my cars, the electric cars, and you factor how many kilowatts I'm using on an average on a monthly basis and how much it costs to recharge it, it's conservative $200-$300 a month just in that bill. All right, so right now it's the never-ending attention right now of the Iran, Israel, us involvement of whatever's playing out in the overseas. And I just, as I've said many times on my channel, I don't watch the news. I just don't watch it. I'm enjoying watching documentaries more, learning things. I'm sure a lot of you the same way. You like to watch YouTube videos and channels. You just have to disconnect yourself from the media machine because you just know it's a propaganda machine. And at the end of the day, what comes from you watching the propaganda machine besides probably being very upset? Now, with that, I think to myself, look at Elon Musk. There's a perfect example of a guy of having a challenge of him being him. And we just witnessed Elon Musk come in to the federal government trying to, in his views, right the ship. But at the end of the day, how can you right the ship when you have so many of the mates and so many of the captains and so many of the cooks that have no desire to right the ship? And I think that's what Elon Musk is realizing and saw more than ever, is that the corruption of our government, of the political figures that are all entangled and interwoven with all the monies that are dispersed that enrich just like few. I think he sees that it's a borderline an impossible task because the government has written laws and guidelines and rules that they get to make the end call of what can be done and can't be done. And for the people outside of the government, such as Elon Musk, he, I think, really came to closure that he's just going to be burning a lot of his own time and getting tarnished for what? For what? And now it's interesting. I think Joe Rogan was calling out Bernie Sanders on, he was basically saying, I don't think the rich have a problem of paying in more tax dollars to the government system. I think the rich have a problem that the tax dollars being paid into the government are not used correctly. And I think that's probably, I would be willing to bet that most billionaires, I mean, you think about it. A guy that has billions of dollars, if he has to pay $100 million more in taxes, does that really make or break him? It doesn't. But I think it's really the underlying anger of that person that knows that tax money won't be used in the right way. And Elon Musk has so exposed that. But at the same time, you have to actually question of what Elon Musk exposed. Because the narrative of the government will try to convince many that what Elon Musk told everybody wasn't really to a T really what it was. And last night I was saying on how it's interesting how people that don't even know how to do their own job seem to want to tell others on how to do their job. And I think that what's very interesting in our government, in our country, is that we have changed administration. These elected officials that come in to take these high-ranking positions to run government agencies, but they weren't even the government to begin with. I think of Pete Hegseth, that is overseeing the Pentagon. I just think to myself, but the guy wasn't in like the Pentagon infrastructure per se. You look at this guy, Sean Duffy, that's the Department of Transportation. he was never in it, just like Pete Buttigieg or whatever his name was. So you get these personalities that come out of nowhere that then come into government infrastructure, and you just have to believe that the government employees that have been at the Pentagon for 20 plus years that see the new guy come in that thinks he can tell them how to run their job, you just have to say, that they're whispering and chattering behind the scenes that this guy doesn't know what he's doing because he doesn't understand this. He was never in it. But yet they put these type of individuals in charge of these agencies that don't even have the knowledge or the history of knowing how to run these agencies. I mean, it makes no sense of how it wouldn't be internal picks of the Pentagon, internal picks of the Department of Transportation, the internal picks of the National Institute of Health. But at the same time, you'd say, but yeah, there is a problem. You have the infrastructure of those individuals that aren't going to change, and they're going to continue to follow whatever's been followed for the last 20, 30 years. And it's a circus. And I think that's why Elon Musk has just totally kind of disappeared. I think that he's just like, what's going to come from this besides nothing? And that's a challenge of Elon Musk of being who he is. In the end, he realized who he is, and he raised his hand, and he realized it's time for him to step aside. And that's what goes on, too, sadly, in relationships and business and in life, is that you do come to understand who you are. And I think that eventually you do look in the mirror and you really do recognize that you are the problem. And then maybe it's time to shake hands. I mean, that's a big challenge in life for all of us, in relationships and family and business, even in religion. There's so many stories of people that have been very religious and they've come to realize that the religion doesn't satisfy them. And I mean, I've witnessed this. I have personally witnessed people that stop going to church, stop believing in God because of the hardships they've gone through. And then they just realize, who's the real problem? Is it the religion or is it you? But anyways, that's it. I'm going to kind of wrap it up there. Kind of a bumpy morning to bring you guys content because I've been interrupted. So it's been kind of a challenging morning, but I like to keep the video going. And that's all. I just like to kind of keep the channel going and let you guys have views and ideas and thoughts. And sometimes I think I bring some ideas and thoughts that people are like, yeah, that kind of seems to make some sense, or this guy here is full of it, and that's as good as it goes. And so the Telly Savalas or the Jon Cryer look, or is it just the Iceman look, which I like that comment as well. So thanks everybody for participating in the channel. A lot is going on, a lot of people participating. So for all those out there participating, I do enjoy your comments. I think you guys are funny. It is great to see everybody kind of reach out and say their 2 cents. So I do appreciate that. And I do get a kick out of it. I really do. So God bless and have a great day.